Hello and welcome to the Paul Scoble Interviews. On today's programme we're joined by Sydney Cleat, President of the UK Spotters Society. Sydney Cleat, welcome. Hello. So, how long have spotters been spotting train spotters? Well, for as long as train spotters have been attracted to trains. There are some historical reports of stagecoach spotters being seen at coaching inns, but these reports are seen as spurious, as most historians view the brief craze for stagecoach spotting as simply highwaymen choosing their victims. Most train spotting historians view the early 20th century as the start of train spotting, and by extension, the start of train spotter spotting. How did you get into train spotter spotting? I grew up near a railway station with a marshalling yard, so we were surrounded by trains and railway engineering. However, I was never that interested in engineering, but found ornithology and zoology fascinating. So although I was bored by the trains, I found the wildlife that was attracted to the trains captivating. So, how do you go about spotting train spotters? I suppose you can't collect their numbers now, can you? Well, not until they've been tattooed. Tattooed? What do you mean, tattooed? Well, as with a lot of zoological studies, it is imperative that we monitor populations of train spotters to make sure that they are healthy, to make sure there are enough resources available to sustain them, and that there are enough males and females to form breeding pairs. To do this, we have instigated a capture, tag and release programme. When we tag the train spotters, we tattoo a unique identifying number on the backs of their necks. We use a number rather than their name in case we tag a train spotter who is also a senior member of the clergy. You kidnap the train spotters? I think you'll find that capture, tag and release is a commonly used zoological technique. Referring to it as kidnapping seems needlessly emotive. I realise that this might seem a little intrusive, but it's very important to monitor populations to fully understand the behaviour of these fascinating creatures. How do you capture your victims? Victims? My God, man, you mean test subjects? OK, sorry. How do you capture your test subjects? Well, obviously we use humane traps. To bait the traps, we found that pickled onions or copies of the Railway Gazette works quite well. But the best bait seems to be a thermos of tea and a packet of chocolate hobnobs. Train spotters seem to be very partial to a premium chocolate biscuit. What about the rights and welfare of the people involved? Well, the train spotters that are involved in the capture, tag and release programme never work for more than 8 hours a day. They all get regular breaks. No, I meant the welfare of the train spotters. Oh, right. Well, the enclosures that we keep the train spotters in are very roomy. There are murals of trains on the walls. We have a tape loop playing calming sounds like steam trains or tannoy announcements about cancelled or late running services. The enclosures are filled with uncomfortable benches, overflowing bins and broken information screens to make the train spotters feel at home. We also place items that the train spotters would find high value in the enclosures, such as notebooks, ballpoint pens or cheese and pickle sandwiches. If the train spotter tagging centre has the resources, we will also have TV screens playing a film of Starlight Express. This seems like an awful lot of effort to go to just to tag them. Although the tagging is the main reason for the train spotter tagging centres, we do get a lot of research done there, due to how closely we can monitor the train spotters in a habitat that is very close to their natural habitat. We get to view their behaviour close up and can see how they interact with other groups of train spotters. Has this led to any new discoveries about train spotters? Yes, we have discovered that although female train spotters are less common than males, there are more of them out there than we thought, as they tend to wear less colourful clothing than the males, so they aren't as easy to spot. So train spotters are like peacocks. Yes, train spotters are like peacocks. The males have beautiful, brightly coloured nylon plumage. We have also discovered that a good way to gauge the age of the train spotters is to look at the callus on their thumbs that they get from holding a writing implement for hours. The larger the callus, the older the train spotter. We have also discovered that the oldest train spotters like to use a pencil, 2B for preference. Younger train spotters like pens, and the youngest train spotters prefer to use an electronic tablet. Despite your explanations, train spotter spotting does sound like an extremely dark pastime. Really? Why is that? Well, kidnapping, forcibly tattooing your kidnap victims, false imprisonment. Whether the train spotters appreciate the lengths we go to try to help their species or not, I still think it's a positive thing to try to help wild animals like train spotters. I feel the world would be a much worse place without train spotters, so I'm happy to try to help them to thrive in the wild. On a personal note, I feel like I've made a lot of very good friends through train spotter spotting. I feel like I'm part of a community. It's interesting. And all in all, I think it's good to have a hobby. Sydney Cleat, thank you very much. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.